I've already been up to my neck in caiman-infested waters.
The head of a caiman here.
Come face to face with some weird and wonderful creatures.
And I try to get closer to them. Hello.
And met some spectacular swamp monsters.
They're letting me get closer than I thought I'd get. Got a reputation for being irritable.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear me.
Ah, that hurts. Don't do that, please.
I've come breathtakingly close to South America's largest predator.
What a magnificent animal.
There are more jaguars here than anywhere else on Earth.
He could be in the boat in a couple of seconds if he wanted to.
Now I want to get even closer to this awe-inspiring predator.
They've found a jaguar on a fresh kill.
It's going to be exhausting and dangerous, but I can't wait.
Could be watching us from anywhere here.
Join me on my Jaguar adventure. Late October. The rains have finally come to the heart of South America. Soon the Pantanal, the world's largest swamp, will flood with more than 5 meters of water, making it impassable to all but the most intrepid explorers.
I'm about halfway through my adventures in the Pantanal, and as you can see, down south there's been a great change in the weather. It hasn't rained here for over 4 months now. For the parched landscape, this deluge is a welcome relief. Very difficult to drive, skidding all over the place. I'm going to help with a Jaguar conservation project where they track the big cat. I just hope the rain won't make the mission difficult or even impossible.
Over the past 2 weeks, I've been travelling through Jaguar country, scouring the network of rivers for these elusive predators. For thousands of years, this vast Brazilian swamp has been the big cat's fortress. Yet most visitors never even catch a glimpse of this iconic creature. But I've had the most incredible luck.
There it is. Just laying on the bank.
And some hair-raising encounters.
It just looked at me then, this massive head.
I've realised a lifelong dream of meeting a jaguar in the wild.
This has been an astounding animal encounter. I'm never going to forget it.
But the jaguar is in trouble. While I've been here, I've heard harrowing tales of how this majestic beast is being persecuted. Shot for its skin, destroyed for following its natural instincts, the jaguar's fortress is crumbling. To get to the heart of the matter, I've flown 600 miles from the jaguar-packed Cuiaba River to the Mato Grosso do Sul cowboy country. I'm on my way to meet some of the world's top jaguar experts at a ranch on the southern edge of the Pantanal. Whoa. On the way, there are 1 or 2 unmissable wildlife spectacles. They'll help me grasp the jaguar's plight. The rain stops just as I reach a vast open grassland, a hotspot for one of the strangest creatures on the planet. A giant anteater. And this one's got a baby on its back. Something I've always wanted to see. They're always wary, particularly when carrying such a precious cargo. To sneak up on her, I need to use a bit of anteater biology. Her tiny eyes and strikingly long snout are a bit of a giveaway. She's practically blind, but her sense of smell is 40 times stronger than my own. The secret will be to stay downwind.
She started to fade, so we can move close. These are good conditions. You can feel a really strong wind. blowing in our faces that's taking our scent away.
She has an acute sense of hearing too. If she hears my footsteps, she'll run. This isn't going to be easy.
These pastures studded with termite mounds. A perfect place for anteaters. A big restaurant.
Anteaters don't just eat ants. In this restaurant, termites are top of the menu. But the insects are so small, Mum needs to eat a heck of a lot of them. Fingers crossed, she won't worry about me.
Look now. We're still, and the anteater and the baby are coming towards us. You can see the baby riding piggyback. Travels like that for the first 6 months of its life, till it gets to be about half the size of Mum. What Mum's doing now is using those big claws. She's got 3 big claws on the front feet. She's breaking into termite mounds, and inside that ridiculously long snout, there's a really big tongue, and she can flick that out 150 times a minute. It's very sticky, and she'll take termites and grubs and feed on them.
I'm going to push my luck and try to get even closer.
Giant anteaters can eat prodigious amounts of insects, over 30,000 in a day. Look how close they are now. This is such a privilege to see a mother and a baby.
She must be so short-sighted. I can't believe she hasn't seen me. The wind's changed and carried my scent to her. Game over.
That was terrific. We couldn't have hoped for anything better than that. She's just wandering off, unconcerned. She came so close. I could see every detail. I have to be careful with giant anteaters. They've got those big claws to defend themselves, and they can actually deal with a jaguar if they're attacked. They can swipe those big claws on their front feet. That was so unbelievable.
Giant anteaters love the open grassland. But what's good for them is a disaster for the jaguar. Just 50 years ago, much of this land was covered in forest. Cleared by ranchers, now only fragments remain. I want to find out if these pockets of forest are still fit for the kings of the Pantanal. Entering the jaguar's domain, every sound, every crackle and call makes the hairs stand up on the back of my neck. This is the perfect hiding place for a large camouflage cat. A noise I recognise. As I thought, all that noise and kerfuffle, brown capuchin monkeys, they were making contact crawls, trying to break into twigs and branches. This is a juvenile, and the rest of the troop are all around me. There's the big dominant male coming in here, bigger than the females. You can see that with this lovely black cat. That's a feature of brown capuchins. And he's foraging down here on the ground. They feel in the leaf litter, they go for small lizards, any insects.
They're really pretty hungry when it's the dry season like this. There's not so much fruit around. And he's the one that leads the group. There's about 12 monkeys in this troop, and they're all around me here. And he will actually sacrifice himself to save the family. What he'll do is make these loud alarm calls if there's a bird of prey or a predator, and will deflect attention away from the rest of his family. But a lovely character. Brown capuchins are the most intelligent monkey in South America. They really are very clever. They use tools in other parts of Brazil to smash open nuts. See these prehensile tails? They're not as strong as the tail of the howler monkey. They can't hang from branches with them. But you can tell you're in South America if you see a monkey with a prehensile tail. No monkeys in Africa or Asia can actually do that. Use it like a third limb, coil it around branches or leaves when they're moving, and they're doing that all the time. And the juvenile over there, there's one just lolling about on the branches. He's having a siesta. Just looking at them, they've got lovely expressions on their faces, not like the expressionless reptiles that I'm used to dealing with. They communicate with each other with facial expressions. That one looks like it's doing the same to me. Hello. And some of the females, there's one up there, a beautiful female looking down at me. The females, they stay in the troop for the whole of their lives. Agile and alert, the capuchins should be safe from jaguars. But in the jungle, biting insects are inescapable. Or so you'd think. Remarkably, capuchins have found some ingenious solutions to this irritating problem. They use leaves to treat bites. They rub in ants to get rid of ticks. They even crush up millipedes to make mosquito repellent. These really are intelligent creatures. What an enchanting scene. But it doesn't last. I knew those brown capuchin monkeys were making alarm calls about something. And here it is, a boa constrictor. And these predators could certainly swallow a baby monkey when they get full grown. They can grow to be nearly 4 meters long. Not very colourful in the Pantanal. In the Amazon, they're much more brightly marked than this. These markings on the tail would be bright chestnut orange. I'm not going to catch this one. I've had enough hair-raising encounters with snakes here, and the cameras can see it perfectly. There's no need to disturb it, and it's a great opportunity to see how brilliant these snakes are at climbing. If I go around here, beautiful, beautiful snake, and so graceful the way they move.
Remarkable, climbing a smooth tree trunk without hands or feet. For the boa, this skill is vital. Some of their prey lives in the treetops. As the snake's muscles contract, I can even hear the scales moving over the bark.
They've got pretty poor eyesight. They can see moving shapes, but they've also got a super sense. Along the lip, they've got heat receptors, so he can actually detect the body warmth of his prey or predators. So using that, he can actually see a heat image of a Nigel below him. And the tongue's coming out all the time, of course, and that's another important sense for snakes. They're taking scent particles from the air. They've got an organ called Jacobson's organ in the roof of their mouth. That's a chemical analyzer, and he knows there's a primate of some kind below him.
The treetops are a place to rest up for jaguars. It seems to me there's enough pockets of forest left for them. They usually leave these refuges to hunt. And it's this that has led to their decline. 95% of the Pantanal is owned by ranchers. They clear the land to raise millions of cattle. If deforestation continues at the current rate, all natural vegetation will disappear within 50 years. The beef is meant for the food industry, but sometimes the Jaguars get there first. A single Jaguar can take 3 cattle in a week. This is what brings the big cat into direct conflict with man. Berto Fiore's ranch covers an area of 1,200 square miles. That's the size of a small country. He claims to lose at least 2 cows to Jaguars every day. That's $130,000 a year, which is why Berto's a Jaguar hunter.
I lost a lot of cattle with the Jaguar.
There's no compensation for Berto.
The government, they don't pay nothing. They don't pay security, school, nothing. You think they will pay my cattle? In Brazil, you don't have subsidy. You have a great problem.
For this man, the solution is obvious. Without compensation, he has to protect his cows. So he shoots the Jaguars.
I'm very good to shot, and I know hunt. I kill more 200 animals. Only Jaguars.
Berto's words are chilling, but he feels his livelihood is at stake. Putting a stop to the killing will be difficult. But there's a place on my route that gives me hope, where wild animals are coming back from the brink. I'm stepping out for a view of a collapsed underground cave, a sinkhole.
What a stupendous sight. This is one of the largest sinkholes in the world, 126 metres deep, 500 metres across. And the most remarkable thing, it's a sort of underground nesting colony for gaudy birds. You can hear one and see one over there. This is a red and green macaw, and over 80 pairs nest in this sinkhole. They usually choose to nest in holes in trees, but here they actually find crevices in the rocks to rear their young. I can see courting pairs all around the sinkhole. They're real lovebirds. They pair for life and are pretty much inseparable. There's quite a soap opera going on down there. You'd think the macaws had lived in the sinkhole for generations, but it's not as simple as that. 30 years ago, people with guns came here, they shot at the birds, frightened away all the macaws. Then the land was sold to 2 brothers. One of the brothers was a better businessman than the other, and he kept the half without the sinkhole, thinking that this area of land was absolutely useless. You couldn't graze cows here, there'd be a risk of them falling into the hole. But the farmer that owned the land, he had some pet macaws. They lived around the rim of the crater, and their calls attracted in the wild ones. And he actually got the last laugh, because now this is a big tourist attraction in the region, and he's making more money for people paying to see macaws than he ever would if he'd had cows on this land. It's not just macaws that are making a comeback. The crater is crammed full with spectacular bird life. And another magical sound. As I thought, buff-necked ibis. There's a pair there duetting. They've got carmine red legs, but they're lifting their heads up, calling to each other. That reinforces the bond between the pair. More ibis swoop in every few minutes. They nest on narrow ledges where they rig up huge stick platforms. Wherever you look, there's something going on. This pair have a newly hatched chick. Now this place is protected, their family has a great chance of survival. But of course, it's the flamboyant macaws that steal the show. That's a unique view of macaws. Flying down below me now over the verdant green forest, you can see the red and green colours perfectly, that great long tail. The extravaganza just gets better and better.
Keep quiet, this is the closest view yet. There's a pair of macaws just in the tree over there. Those feathers really are sumptuous, the reds and the greens. And it's a great chance to have a close view of that beak. It's a multi-purpose tool. The top part of the bill, just like a pickaxe, you can see that sharp end. The lower part of the bill, just like a chisel, they can use that for breaking into fruits and nuts. And these bills are really powerful. They can smash open nuts as tough as Brazil nuts. And then on the inside of the lower beak, they've got a rough edge just like a file, so they can file into nuts. And then if they're attacked, they can use the whole thing like a vice. So powerful they could snip off a finger. And away they go. That really is like a flying rainbow.
And where there's a rainbow, there's a pot of gold. The farmer's spending his surprise windfall wisely, planting thousands of trees bearing the macaw's favourite food. Every day the birds head off to forage in the newly planted forest. The clock is being turned back in this corner of the Pantanal. I'm really encouraged by this remarkable success story. It means wildlife, including the jaguar, can pay its own way. The forest sprouting up around the macaw's sinkhole is already attracting inquisitive investigators. The coati is fully equipped to take advantage of a place like this. Their hypersensitive noses sniff out any food going. Small bands sweep through the forest, exploring every nook and cranny. They're excellent climbers and skilled egg thieves, which is why the macaws need to nest in such inaccessible places. Coatis themselves are prime jaguar food. Their presence here is a good omen for the possibility of big cats.
You also get reptiles in the forest, and there's one over here. You don't get many more beautiful than this. A tortoise, of course, a red-footed tortoise. A male, I can tell that because when I picked him up, my hand slipped beneath the shell to this concave plastron. That's what you call the lower part of the tortoise's shell. It's concave in the males, so when they mate with the females, this shape fits perfectly on the mate's back. And they're beautiful tortoises, eat a lot of fruit and salad stuffs, a little bit of carrion if they get the chance. See why they're called red-footed tortoises? These gorgeous red markings on the front legs. And this is quite a heavy thing, full grown. They reach about 30 centimetres in length, and this one is just about that. He's giving me a little bit of a hiss there. When they meet another tortoise, they bob their head like this, and if the tortoise they've met bobs their head back, they know they've met another male and they should move on looking for a female. And if they find one of those, she stays still if she's ready for mating. He must be about 20 to 25 years old. So that's put you down. This one's in perfect condition. Hope you find a female.
Not exactly top of the jaguar's menu, but believe it or not, their jaws are powerful enough to munch straight through a tortoise's shell. It's sweltering in the forest. Trekking through the jungle is taking its toll on me. but there's a wonderful place to cool off.
This is real paradise. I've spent the last 3 weeks in muddy swamps, these beautiful clear waters, and there is a multitude of fish here. It's like swimming in your own private aquarium, all different shapes and sizes. Some of them are about that size, and that's not a fisherman's tail.
The crystal clear waters of the Rio Prata, naturally filtered through the surrounding limestone hills, are unique to the Pantanal. There are more than 230 species of fish in this region, a spectacular subaquatic community. Each plays its part in the swamp's complex web of life.
These beautiful fish feeding all around me. The local name for them, look at them, this is a real frenzy. The local name from them is Pirapatanga, and they've got an extraordinary relationship with the brown capuchin monkeys. When they come to feed here in this gallery forest along the riverbanks, the Pirapatanga are waiting for any fruits that the monkeys drop into the water.
Swimming with these wonderful animals is an unexpected treat. I never thought I'd experience this in a muddy swamp.
This is such a magical place. I haven't seen fish like this anywhere other than a coral reef.
Fully refreshed, I'm ready for the final leg of my journey. I'm beginning to think the Jaguar's got a chance. The cavalry is coming from a most unlikely direction. Berto Fiore has killed more than 200 jaguars. But today, jaguar hunting is outlawed in Brazil. All that remains are the faded memories of his jaguar trophies. Berto's undergone a dramatic transformation. He's a jaguar hunter turned conservationist.
I don't hunt more. I stopped. I want change. Really, I want change.
Now his knowledge is being used by conservationists to understand the jaguar. He wants to help save this magnificent animal.
Jaguar, the king of Pantanal. It's wonderful. Wonderful.
I've come to the Cayman Ecological Refuge to see how Berto's methods are being put into action. The refuge is bursting with wildlife. Hidden in its forests are a number of jaguars. It's also a mega ranch home to more than 20,000 cattle. So it's the perfect snapshot of the Pantanal conflict. On my adventure, I've come to realise there are two sides to the story. Jaguars and people are both struggling to survive. It's here I hope to find a solution. In the morning, I'm joining the cowboys for a jaguar hunt. It's going to be tough. Jaguars are solitary, secretive, and roam vast territories. So we'll be looking for a shy, camouflaged, and dangerous needle in a very large haystack. That's why much of the jaguar's life has remained a mystery, until now. It's the first jaguar hunt of the season. I've been invited to the traditional pre-dawn gathering. It's critical to start early. We need to track down a jaguar before its scent is burned off by the sun. We need the cowboys, the hard men of Brazil's Wild West. They're the ones who are experts in tracking down jaguars. They know this land like the backs of their hands. The cowboys have been asked to help by biologist Leandro Silveira. He hopes to convince them to make peace with their enemy. To be honest, I don't know what to expect, and I can't help feeling a bit anxious.
Hello there, Leandro.
Hi, good morning.
Morning. This is the team. Hello.
Mariano's our vet.
The cowboys have bought into Leandro's big idea, agreeing to help his team of biologists. To learn about jaguars, they need to radio collar them. The key to their success are these jaguar hounds. We'll have our work cut out. Jaguars have a clever habit of vanishing into thin air.
When do you bring that?
Leandro's techniques are dangerous and controversial. As soon as it's light, the cowboys head out across the ranch to look for tracks, while I get acquainted with the dogs.
They're trained specifically to track jaguars.
Are they a special Brazilian breed?
No, actually they are English foxhounds, American foxhound, you have coonhound, red bone. It's a mixture.
The early start is critical. We need to get the dogs on the jaguar's scent before it evaporates. We only have a few hours. The temperature's rising fast, and there's a lot of ground to cover. The race is on. Waiting for news from the cowboys, I'm getting nervous.
I can feel the tension myself. The crew and we've never met a jaguar at close range. What should we do if we get in a tricky situation?
We're gonna work always to avoid that tricky situation. If it goes up a tree, it's a safer situation. You can approach. That's not a big problem. But if it's on the ground, you don't want to get close to a jaguar.
So if I accidentally come across a jaguar, I keep an eye on him, but don't look it directly in the
eyes. Don't challenge him with your eyes.
The cowboys are crucial to the success of this endeavour. One has a sophisticated tracking device, a mule, veteran of 27 hunts, with an unbelievable knack for sniffing out jaguars. Even these powerful beasts are terrified of the big cat. When they hit the scent, they refuse to go any further. It's the news we've been waiting for. Now we need to get there, and fast. The radio call sparks our army of scientists, farmhands and dog handlers into action. It's a mad scramble across bone-jarring terrain. The cat's on the move. We don't want it to get away. This is as far as the vehicles can go, to the edge of the jaguar's forest fortress. Now we have to follow on foot. It's one thing to see them from the safety of a boat, but this is something else. Everyone's on edge. We're taking on South America's supreme predator on its home turf.
This is all very exciting. There's the cowboy ahead that found the tracks. Leandro and the team following closely. We don't know what we're going to find. Here, it looks like this is where they are. What can you tell from the tracks, Leandro?
It's an adult. They're fresh, but not as fresh as we wanted it to be. Maybe 2 or 3 hours ago.
I hope the hounds can still pick up the scent.
Cesar now is bringing the most experienced dogs that we have. This is the lead dog. So he's already reacting to the scent. It's kind of barking.
If that's what you're looking for, then start baying when they smell the scent.
He can smell something. The chase is on.
Dogs are baying. They're all streaking through this terrain here. Patch of dense forest ahead, maybe that's where the Jaguar are. The dogs are really excited. They are really on the scent.
We're listening for the lead dog's bark echoing back from the front line. As long as we can hear it, we know it's on the Jaguar's trail. This is the worst kind of assault course. The forest is hot, thorny and disorientating. We've no idea how long the race is going to last, and at the end of it, a cornered Jaguar. I must be mad. It's pandemonium.
See, all the dogs are reacting. They're working the cat. That's still working. They just got the line and working the cat. So when they get eye contact, you hear the voice. Their voice is going to change.
How close do you think we are?
Less than 500 meters from that cat.
In its forest refuge, a Jaguar can often outsmart the dogs by climbing into the treetops. As soon as it leaves the ground, the dogs lose the scent and stop barking. It's up to us now to spot the big cat.
Leandro's incredibly tranquil as a dart in the gun. He's sure there's a Jaguar very close. He could be watching us from anywhere here. Leandro's just said we've got to speak in whispers now. Can't hear the dogs anymore, so the Jaguar's probably gone up a tree.
The dogs have just silent. They're looking up trees and they're checking. Found again. See? So that the cat jumped, and then the lead dog, the master dog, that's the one that barked. He found the scent line again. So he called the other hounds.
So the Jaguar's on the move again.
And so are we. But this time we're after a different Jaguar. The first cat's given us the slip, but unbelievably a second radio call. Another chase across this bum-numbing terrain.
We lost the trail of one Jaguar. We're off to see a cowboy who sighted another one. I'm travelling with the most important members of the team, the hounds. This is the lead dog. And it's important to have a big pack like this because the cat won't attack a big group of dogs, and also it's less likely for one of these dogs to be a hero and run after the Jaguar and get injured.
It's 10 o'clock already and getting hot. Our chances of finding a new scent are literally evaporating fast. But I can see Leandro's passionate about his work. He won't give up easily.
What's happening?
See the vultures there? That means that's a good sign of probably a kill around here.
We don't have long, but it's worth one last go. We quickly find the smoking gun.
That's a kill over there?
This is the heart of the problem.
They found a Jaguar on a fresh kill, a cow. The Jaguar would have fed so it would have meat and blood around its face. So the dog should be able to get a really good scent.
While the rest of the team look for the predator, I inspect the carcass.
This is the crux of the problem for the Jaguar. It's not habitat destruction. It's this conflict between the ranchers and the cats. You can see here big scratch marks on the cow where the cat's been on its back, but this one probably shook the cow around and just broke its neck. 55 cows to every person here in the Pantanal. They've only been here for 200 years. Ever since they were introduced into the realm of the jaguar, the cat has been feeding on them. Predators have to eat meat. There's no way round it for them. The ranchers see kills like this. They see their livelihood being literally eaten away by jaguars. They retaliate, go out shooting the cats. The solution, perhaps, compensation for the farmers every time they lose a cow to a jaguar like this. The other solution is for the jaguar to be worth more alive than dead. Ecotourism. Naturalists and tourists will pay handsomely to see the big cat, and that in itself would compensate the ranchers for a loss like this. Conditions are now impossible for even the most experienced hound. The blistering heat has burnt off any trace of jaguar scent. 7 hours after we set out, we give up, exhausted.
See, the dogs are returning back.
So that's what the horn means?
Yeah, we're calling them, it's time to go, calling them back.
And is it game over?
For this cat, yes.
Certainly learning one thing, jaguars really are cunning cats. That's the second one that's given us the slip. It would really be a fitting finale to my month in the Pantanal to get really close to a jaguar. I've had some astounding encounters with animals. Giant anteaters?
Look how close they are now. This is such a privilege.
They're thriving here. And spectacular macaws. It just goes to show how nature bounces back with a bit of help. And those fish, a hidden gem. This is such a magical place. I'm sure there are plenty more secrets to discover in the Pantanal. Most excitingly, I've found people here willing to make peace with their arch-enemy, the jaguar.
There's the cowboy head that found the tracks.
And they're using ingenious techniques to make it all happen.
They are really on the scent.
Next time on Jaguar Adventure, it's the final leg of my journey. There are more swamp monsters to meet.
This is the most dangerous animal I've met on the Pantanal. Oh, he spotted me standing up on his back legs.
I head back into the forest. I'm determined to catch that cat.
This could be it.
Our hard work pays off at last.
I just saw a glimpse of the tail.
See you next time for more Jaguar Adventures.
They're such a magnificent animal.